Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Toned In Entertainment where we love pop culture. Today, it's time for another comic book review. Now, I've reviewed both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 of Patriotika, and I've really enjoyed those two issues, and now we have Chapter 3. Now, this issue will wrap up this story's arc. Will it come to a big, satisfying conclusion? Well, let's get on with my review of Patriotika Chapter 3, Twilight of a God. Now, as soon as I cracked open this comic book, the first thing I did notice was a drastic difference in the art style. And that's because there is a new artist on board here in Chapter 3 with Danusko Campos. Now, the art throughout is still pretty good. I just don't feel it shine like in Chapters 1 and 2. Now, as far as the story goes, Erin, who's officially known as Patriotika, has definitely been through a lot in the first two chapters. Just as the twins of the sun gods had fallen, she had new challengers step into the ring with Zero G and her goon squad as issue number 2 concluded. And here, right off the top in issue number 3, Zero G looks like she might have this Super Barbie, as she calls her, right where she wants her. And it's definitely going to take more than a few bullets from her new officer friend Gwen to stop this menace. However, the way that Zero G loves to mock her, I'm not sure if Patriotika is more concerned with defeating her or shutting her up. But thankfully for her, the wound that she had suffered at the end of issue number 2 has healed itself, and she's definitely going to need all the healing factor that her body can muster to deal with the tricks and powers that Zero G has up her sleeve. Now, for our hero, she receives a massive butt kicking and looks like she's left for dead. And with Zero G believing that fighting Officer Gwen would be beneath her, she unleashes her four-armed ninja henchman, Kuwado, to finish the job up. Now, after receiving this major butt kicking, Athena comes to Patriotika in a dream, and she's there to give her less of a pep talk, but more of a lecture, as she tells her, "I haven't lost a battle in decades." And now with her in this state of unconsciousness, their enemy could finish them off once and for all, and there's probably nothing a normal civilian, even though she has potential like Gwen, could do to save the day. Well, maybe it's time for Athena to have more confidence in Gwen. While Gwen realizes by herself she's not strong enough, she decides to wake a couple of sleeping giants to invite to the party. Ramses tells his sister Nefertari to release her power on him. Even though he will be vulnerable, he believes with his magic at full strength, he will be unstoppable. As Ramses unleashes his magic, Zero G appears to be falling to her death, but the only death she's dying from is boredom. Fed up with playing games, Nefertari wants to show the puny humans what destruction her and her brother are capable of. As the brother and sister act like they are stuck inside a copy of the Rampage video game, Patriotika finally comes to. As she awakens, she sees Gwen battered and bruised, and she does not have healing factor like Patriotika does. But Gwen's life is about to take a drastic change. Patriotika leans over and gives Gwen her magic touch and tells her she could heal her using Earth's magic and can grant her a wish temporarily. And what wish will Gwen make? Well, it looks like she's dreamed of becoming a powerhouse herself. And we'll get to see the force of her power on display right away as Gwen punches through a wall and sends the four-armed ninja crashing to the ground. Now, as with most crime syndicates, there's usually a mob of hired goons. And here that will also be true, as a mob of ninjas have shown up for some slicing and dicing fun. As Patriotika fights them off, Gwen is trying to figure out how she can lend a hand. Now, in addition to the mob of ninjas, Patriotika will also have to deal with the giant twins. As Patriotika tries to go toe-to-toe with the siblings, she actually finds herself coming to the aid of Zero G, who at least temporarily decide it would be in their best interest to team up. As Patriotika appears to be in trouble while battling Ramses, Zero G opens up some type of portal that sucks in Patriotika and then shuts. With Patriotika gone, Zero G looks down the fist of impending doom from the giant hands of Nefertari. That is until a voice shouts out saying, "Why don't you pick on someone you're..." And who is that person who's going to be stepping up to the plate? Well, it's none other than Gwen, who has hit a sudden growth spurt and is now going by the name Collateral D. And Collateral D certainly knows how to deal out the damage, as she lays a wallop on the twins, forcing them to retreat. Now, in issue number 1, we met Erin's friends Sam and Tanya, and we really haven't seen much of them lately, but they are currently making their way to New Haven. But what exactly is their motive? Are they heading there to see how their friend Erin is doing? Or with a shotgun in hand, does Tanya have an ulterior motive? Now on the last page of this issue, we get to see where Patriotika landed, where she went through that portal that Zero G had opened. It seems that Patriotika has not only been transferred to an unfamiliar place, but also a very different time, as she finds herself now powerless, staring down a raptor that probably has no interest in becoming a vegetarian anytime soon. Now it appears that this story arc is wrapped up, but the good news is there's going to be more adventures with Patriotika in the future in the series called Patriotika United. Now for my final score of Patriotika Chapter 3, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I know I mentioned the art style off the top, and while it was good, it just didn't pack the same punch that the first two issues did. However, the story does keep up with what's to be expected, as there's plenty of action, dramatic, and fun moments all wrapped up into one package here. Now going into this issue, I had read that there was only 3 issues planned, and I'm glad to see that the adventures of the powerhouse known as Patriotika is far from over. Alright guys, well that's going to wrap up this comic book review for Patriotika Chapter 3. Now have you guys read this entire story arc? And if you did, what are your thoughts? And are you excited for more stories in the future? I definitely am. Alright guys, if you like comic book reviews like this, make sure you subscribe here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.